All right, we're going to end the urinary system by talking about the process called micturition. All right, so we're going to talk about urination. That's what it is. So the thing I'm going to ask you at the end is, can you describe how micturition or urination works? So micturition, fancy word for urination, just random fact. I don't know who was the poor individual that got to figure this out or learn this, but most mammals take approximately 20 seconds to urinate regardless of volume. So I'm sorry if you think about that the next time you go pee. So how does it work? Pretty simple. Urine fills the bladder. The bladder has stretch receptors in it, and they stretch out as the walls of the bladder stretch out. These stretch receptors send a signal, so an afferent signal, to your spinal cord, and this ultimately activates your parasympathetic nervous system. They cause the contraction of something called your detrusor muscle, and they also cause the relaxation of your internal sphincter. This is something you have no control over. Now, there's also interneurons. Remember, interneurons kind of connect other neurons. They let the part of your brain called the pons, which is where the micturition center is, let your brain know, hey, bladder is full, I gotta go. And so if your brain ultimately decides, yep, you're right, we need to go, what happens is signals are sent through the somatic system so that you can relax your external urethral sphincter. Okay, you have no control over the internal sphincter and the detrusor muscle, but you do have control over your external sphincter. And so as a result, you pee. So here we go in pictures. So we have stretch receptors in our bladder. They send signals via an afferent neuron. Let me turn my laser pointer on. So we've got this afferent signal. Okay, notice it splits into two here, or it's communicating with two different neurons. So we've got this efferent neuron here that's activated by the parasympathetic nervous system, causes the detrusor muscle to contract, and relaxation of this internal sphincter. Okay. At the same time, this signal is also going up to the pons. Pons decides, yep, it's time to pee. So your motor cortex, which is under voluntary control, sends a signal, and you decide, yep, I want to pee. And when you do that, your external sphincter relaxes. And then you urinate. So here is another way to look at it. So just a flow chart, increased volume. So you have increased urine volume or increased volume inside your bladder, activates those stretch receptors, which ultimately increase parasympathetic activity, and it decreases somatic neuron activity because we're relaxing a muscle. Okay, so we're going to relax that external sphincter. So this is the side that you've got control over. You have no control over this side, the left side. Okay, so we increase parasympathetic, decrease sympathetic activity. That allows the internal sphincter to relax and the detrusor muscle contracts. And then you pee. So, can you summarize the process of micturition?